by the way, just quickly.
Yeah.
Our camera pans down to a dark, remote village in Calcutta. A stone pebbled driveway leads up to a large house. We follow our protagonist, Benjamin Berry, buck-toothed, unwholesome, dripping with sweat and eagerness. Wanders up the pathway towards a large, what looks like empty, dishevelled manor house. A horrible, threatening vision with the name that carried with it. William McLaughlin opened the door and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Biscotti Conversations." Another magnificent episode, another wonderful podcast. Welcome, and thank you so much, Benjamin, for joining me here.
This is my second time running.
Oh, wonderful. It's so strange. I'm looking at the webcam now.
There's another webcam.
The laptop is down here now, people. We're hoping that the audio quality is okay. This is the first time I've not been in my centre of operations. I'm now in Ben's. It's nice to be nice to take the podcast on tour. So
yeah, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers and welcome.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me here.
That's right. Not a problem. Not a problem. I just posted a thing up on Facebook, so that should.
My cat is in conflict with L. Mike Boone at the moment, and I'm hoping it's going to be working in the first place.
You want to check that it sounds okay?
Yeah. Yo.
Yeah, so it sounds alright on there.
Maybe turn it up on your devices if you want to hear a little more flavour. Ben and I've been looking forward to doing the second one for a while because we've been wanting to talk about 2020's lineup for music,
yes,
which is tits in every sense fashion of the word. If you do not mind my penchant for horrible language or just women's body parts for describing how good things are. So we've got probably one of the biggest 90s revivals and 90s pushes coming ever in 2020, where we've got things like Stars of a 10. I'm not the biggest fan, but things like Green Day have got a new album, and we've got System of a Down have started releasing tour dates as well. They're back together.
Yeah, they've recorded an entire new album without Serge Tankian.
Really? Yeah. I didn't even know this.
It came out recently. They all got together and they released an entire album of music without Serge because they're wasted on him to really just give a fuck.
Yeah, but you see, this is the thing though, is because I was watching, an interview with who's the other singer, the guy.
The angels deserve to die.
Donovan or something like that. No, John Donovan's a drummer.
The guitarist.
Yeah.
He's fantastic though, that boy. God, he can play. Anyway, but yeah, I was watching an interview with him and an interview with Serge, and they were both saying apparently that there's no bad blood, they haven't fallen out, there's no and there's no artistic differences or anything like that. They just did as many albums apparently as they wanted to do, and then said, right, do you want to just not do this for a while? And so they didn't do it. So that's strange though that they did a whole album without Serge. So I wonder if there is maybe some pepperiness coming over the past sort of year. Have you seen that thing where they do What's in My Bag?
No, I haven't.
They get famous people and they go into one of the main California record shops.
Yeah.
I've been in there actually when I was a kid. I was about 13. And they do things like they get Post Malone to work in there, or they get 96, and he pushes his album. People are looking at something that's got nothing to do with their music, and they'll go, "Would you like to look at this album?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Are you Post Malone?" And he's like, "No." But yeah, that's so cool that they're doing it. I've got to check that out. What's the other one? Is so System started putting tour dates on, and they're obviously doing Download, which is their main one. I'm looking out to see what else they're going to be throwing out. Dude, because if they do something at a reasonably local venue, then I'm there. I'm going. And the same thing with the other big band that got together. I haven't even gone to the hiatus yet. I'll probably get there in about 20 minutes because I want to talk about how awesome this is. The Rage Against the Machine of Torrent. Oh my god! Oh my god! Rage, dude! I am so pumped for Rage. I am so pumped. Me and my housemates are and the moment that they put on any venue, like it's going to get sold out in the UK. Like, the fans they must have over here are insane. Like I haven't like either hosted or been to a single party and not gone into a discussion of Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
And it's not been about 5 to 10% of people, 5 to 10% of people in the entire room have just like gone crazy, like and gone like, oh my god, yeah, they're doing this, they're doing that. Have you heard this one? What do you think of this? What do you think of that?
Yeah.
And I'm so pumped for it. I mean, what's your sort of take on Rage? Are you a big Rage kid growing up?
I listened to a few of their songs. I covered a couple of them with a band I was in years and years ago, but they never really appear on my playlist. Not for a long time now. They haven't appeared on my playlist for a long time. I think if they were to get back together and release music, I'd have to have a listen to it to really see if it's sort of my thing nowadays. Because I think as I've got older, my music taste has really sort of transformed and changed, and there's so much more I listen to now. Not so much what I used to listen to as a kid. So it'd be interesting to see if they do release any new music, what it will sound like in today's day and age. Because when they released their stuff in their prime, you know, that was the music you wanted to listen to. And it was rage music. That's what they call Rage Against the Machine. You know, it was sort of anti-establishment, anti sort of politic corruption. You know, anti all this. So in today's day and age, it'd be interesting to see what they say about the current political climate.
Absolutely. I think that's what you said, brother, is very poignant, I think, because I think that's a reason why a lot of big bands nowadays, the reason why we're having this big 90s anarchistic band revival that they're throwing tour dates on, all these bands that are wacky and crazy, so much, very high energy, high performance, big touring bands.
I don't know how high performance they've been now with their age.
I have no idea either, but exactly, that's why it's going to be interesting to see them come back. They're coming back because I reckon, in a lot of ways, because of the current political climate that seems to be going on all over the planet.
Yeah.
Everywhere, not just everywhere. The mass sort of like the contemporary youth and they're sort of a very revolutionary,
very angsty as well.
And very angsty, yeah. So like, yeah, angsty is definitely the word for it, and I have no idea where we're going to land with all of this. It's so crazy.
Yeah, definitely the political landscape it's changed dramatically since Rage were first sort of around, but in the same way, it's kind of the same.
Yeah,
you know,
it's gone back to what it was when
their message when they first came out is exactly the same as it would be now.
Yeah,
you know, about how, you know, the establishment is corrupt, about how, you know, it needs to change. And back then, it was very true. And today, it still stands true, just in a newer landscape.
Yeah.
You know. And yeah, I think with them coming back and doing new tour dates, I don't think it's more about the money per se. I think they want to come out and make another message. They want to sort of get their message back out there. So I definitely think, yeah, it'd be an interesting time to see what they do with the music.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got a lot to do with, I mean, definitely message, and I think that's very true of what you said there with regards to, not wanting to come back into it for the money. I think that's really important because I think it leads on to the band I want to talk about in a minute, is that I think a lot of people are coming back because they want new art.
Yeah.
We want, there's a big ask for a lot of art from these people that still exist and they're quite fit. A lot of them, they're still like, you know, they're not bloody, they're far from dead.
Yeah.
They're not the kids, the angry kids they were when they started, but they're still fucking furious and they want to come back and they want to start making art and music again. They want to start creating, giving birth to something, and there's only so long that you can sit on your money for, you know, like and you have to bring yourself back to the people, and you have to stay relevant, and you have to go above and beyond what your original capabilities you thought were back in the day.
Yeah.
And if you go like, right, we've done it now, we're not touring anymore, we've broken up as a band, everybody's doing their own side projects. He's doing, you know, the bassist went off and formed that oh god, I can't remember what they're called. My mates were telling about the
Audio Slave.
Audio Slave, and then he had another one as well, though, but I can't remember what it was called. He did like a band that like no one's heard of, but they've got really good music, which mainly, but the bassist is like one of the main is basically the key character. And Prophets of Rage, obviously, is fucking fire. They are so good. I love Prophets of Living on the 110. I don't know what the lead singer went off and did. Did he do his own band?
No, I don't think he did actually.
Did he just stop doing music?
I just think,
I assume
Dylan Rocker just went off and just lived life, I guess. Just lived life without touring, without bands and whatnot. I think he just wanted to sort of come away from it a little bit and just, live for a while without the need for, going out and touring all the time and, breaking his ass every day for the music that he's doing, when really he could spend a lot of time just out of it and just, activise in his own way.
Yeah, the guitarist has done a lot of impressive things though, because he's done he's done I think 1 or 2 other supergroup type things, but he tours a lot on his own, just by himself, because I had a family member that went to go and see, I can't remember who it was. They went to go and see somebody in I think it might have been the Rolling Stones actually.
Right.
I'm not too sure, I may be wrong on this, but he opened for one of the biggest bands ever that they went to go and see. And when he opened, it's just him with a guitar, and he just does loops and just complicates and layers and filters, removes layers, and keeps doing more shit on what he's already doing. And they were saying that he literally blew the roof off the stadium, and it's quite Rage, but a bit more sort of intricate.
You want to know a good guy who does layer his music quite a lot, that does it in such a way that it almost seems like he's not layering it at all? That's John Gone.
John Gone.
He's an acoustic guitarist, but he plays so well. I don't know how he moves his fingers across the guitar like that. It's magical to watch him play. And just see his music and how it unfolds. But harking back to, where you said about new arts. Bring it open.
Go on.
I've got one there. When you're harking back to the new arts and things like that, you want to see new art and things. My main concern is that we need new art, but doesn't need to come from artists we already know and love. If we want new art, surely it should come from new artists coming out, because they've got a lot more to say than maybe the other bands who have already said their piece back in their time. Is there maybe not space for a new artist to come out with their own views and their views on the current climate, because they've lived through that current climate, and then they've had to live through the consequences of it as children, to then come up as an adult and think, I've got all this pent up angst that I need to let loose. I'll let loose in music. Is there any space for them to really come in and take the place of the older generation? Because the angst that we have it as children that comes into adulthood, but each generation has their own way of expressing it. The generation before us expressed it with music. Our generation is expressing it with protesting. Could the new generation still harken back to using music as a way to let loose and get rid of that angst? Or not get rid of it, but channel it into something else to maybe use that for the better good, and to remind and to give people on a global scale a reason to really believe that we do live in some sort of corrupt nation, or live in some corrupt atmosphere where the politicians don't give a shit about climate change, or they don't give a shit about what's happening to the poorer amongst us. Do we need the older bands to come back to give us that same message that should be delivered by the people who are now currently living through it?
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. I'd say it's a combination. I would say yes. I think that we do need a bit of that. We need the older brothers. We need the older sisters. We need the young mums, the young dads, and we need the old dads, and we need the grandparents. We need everybody on board. With a bit more of a, not necessarily consolidated, but a more sort of like a happier message and a wiser one, so that we can listen, because these people have seen oh god, what's it called? As Shakespeare said that we're all committing the oldest sins and the newest ways. So if they've seen things which are happening now, which have happened before, then they would have a lot to say about, in terms of making sure that that not only their new catalogue is heard by producing new things, but that their old catalogue is heard by people digging into them and going, oh wow, I never heard of Rage Against the Machine before. These guys look cool, and then going into the old catalogue and going, fucking hell, this is cool. I get it, and that, and I think that we need a lot of that. We need a lot of the old generation, and even older than that. You need the Rolling Stones. They're still touring. You need that, and they're the system from that generation. They're pleased to meet you. Hope you get my name. Don't satisfaction. I can't get no satisfaction no matter how much I get. I'm still not quite happy with what's going on because it hasn't changed. And then you get an even older generation than that. But it's all up to the youth to make sure, though, because the youth will inherit the earth at the end of all of this, and you've got to remember that. So you've got to try and make sure that if you've left problems in the past, then you go up and you solve them, or you keep producing things to inspire the new and the better.
But with music as well, it's kind of got this kind of Schrödinger syndrome to it, because almost lost it.
No, it's cool.
The music back in 30, 40 years ago, it was very much a case of playing on instruments. You sing about girls in some bands, you sing about sort of, oh, I feel so shit sort of bands.
80s and 90s.
Hair metal, where it's all almost very happy, very cheerful.
Quite hedonistic, but
well, it was hedonistic for its time, but if you compare it to current music nowadays, Girls, Girls, Girls by Motley Crue,
I was listening to that on the way here.
It's not as crude as, say, Lil Pump with the song I Love It. Its tagline is, you're such a fucking hoe, I love it. Compare that song to Motley Crue's Girls, Girls, Girls. Which one is actually probably more hedonistic?
Yeah, and a bit more removed from, a bit more clever in its delivery of its message of look, I'm just saying that I love girls. At the end of the day, I love women. There's no and everything that they do, and God bless them for it. Instead of going, no, I just want the puss. Just give me the box and the boobs. I'm not really too interested in anything else. Sort of thing. And that's so.
You see the difference. Motley Crue referred to them as girls.
Yeah.
Lil Pump referred to them as hoes.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a girl and a hoe, and the way we describe them, and it all boils down to sexism, it all boils down to sexism.
Absolutely.
And yes, it was very rampant back when Motley Crue were.
It's super rampant now.
Popular. It's even worse now. Even though we're a lot more tolerant of stuff, and we're a lot less tolerant of maybe homophobia or sexism or racism.
That's only in certain pockets as well. Yeah.
It's still very rampant.
Yeah.
And it's rampant not just in life in general, but in music.
Yeah.
The rap artists more in general. You look at rap artists out there who, they sing about sort of hoes and calling themselves N-words, and and all this kind of anger that comes out of it, but also talking very much in the sense of, I'm going to be sexist, I'm going to be racist, I'm going to be homophobic. And it's all in the song. It's fine. No, it's all in the song. It's fine. It's not fine.
It feels like they didn't listen to the previous generation that made rap music, because a lot of the previous generation that made rap music, a lot of them were doing that for the sake of saying this is, a lot of them, not all of them, there's plenty of them that have got a lot to answer for in terms of degrading the language of which we use to refer to the opposite gender, as speaking as gentlemen.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them have a lot to, I think a lot of them did a lot of good, but maybe weren't interpreted in the correct sense. Maybe that's a lot of this generation's fault. Maybe it's a lot their fault for mixing their message up. Who knows? I'm not the person to be giving any form of judgment on any of that at all. But I think there's there is a lot that can be said though for saying that a lot of them they're saying, you know, this is not a good thing that we're referring to 50% of the entire planet in a derogatory, unfair, you're only here for one reason way.
Yeah.
And or you know, or you can't contribute like we can, or any of that shit. And it's bullshit. It's not cool. And it's something as well that I think that comes with, I don't know, it comes with age. And I'm 25. I barely know anything.
Yeah.
And I still feel like, you know, like, did I know more when I was 17?
Yeah.
You know, when you still get that feeling sometimes, you're like, oh, I felt like I knew everything when I was 17. And you're like, dude, I'm 25 now, and the older I've gotten, the less it feels like I know. Like,
yeah.
You know,
we
wow.
Got to think, this year for me, 18 would have been 10 years ago. You know, I would have turned 18 10 years ago this year. And although my mindset may not have changed in the fact of, you know, how I want to view the world, my perspective on things and perspective on adult life has changed significantly.
Massively.
You know, because when you're 18, you do believe the world is your oyster. And you're told from a young age as well, you should believe that the world is your oyster, you can do anything. But as you progress more into adult life, you realise, no, you can't do everything. You can't do everything you want to.
Yeah.
You're not going to keep your friend group. You're not going to keep the relationships that you think you have. You know, it's all going to change, and it all changes in adulthood quite drastically. You know.
I think there's a lot of, you learn a lot of lessons about how to actually obtain what you really want from life. And so when you go, oh my god, I want to be a rock star or an astronaut or something like that, you go like, okay, right, so what is it to be an astronaut? Okay, right, first off, you're probably going to have to go deep depth into studying physics.
Yeah.
And then you're going to need to learn at least an advanced course of biology in order to understand how your own body works in terms of how you're going to react to this to these spaces, and whether or not you genetically, your body as it is when you grow up will be able to tolerate. And especially with your life path at the moment, then you're going to have to get into the gym in order to meet those needs that you're going to have to subject your body to. Right, then maybe you're going to have to do chemistry in order to understand chemical change and whatnot. And then let's go back to physics to understand mathematics, and to make sure that you can do the applications of mathematics that are necessary so that you understand the environment in space that you're going to be in, of understanding the control equipment and everything else to apply yourself to it, and make sure that you're on point, you're where you need to be, and your brain is where it needs to be when you're in that situation, because you've got other people's lives are at stake and your own. And not only that, you've got the future of fucking space travel.
Oh yeah, of course.
So it's like, you know, and then you go like, right, so what do I need to do? And you start consolidating your learning patterns into what they need to be in order to conquer those variables, and then you go, right, I'm ready to take the test.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. Look, these are my credentials. I'm ready to see whether or not you are ready to accept me as an astronaut. Come on, NASA. Or I want to be a cosmonaut or whatever. You know? And it's the same thing that comes with rock music. You're going to have to do some serious deep diving when you're younger, or at some point in your life. If you want to go down that path, you're going to have to make sure that you're very strong mentally and you can fight a lot of temptation.
Yeah.
And not just that, but that you can handle being around some of the not just cleverest but wackiest human beings that you'll ever encounter anywhere in your life. People that will tell you stories that you'll go, I can't believe I'm in this situation right now doing this or whatever. And you'll also have to make sure that you master an art, and you'll never be able to master it.
Yeah.
And that's a weird thing, is understanding that you'll have to do something that you'll never be able to finish. There'll be a small part of you that will die forever, but there'll also be a new part of you that will form every day to meet the needs of whatever.
The world nowadays is under the mantra of jack of all trades.
Sorry to go off on one there.
The mantra of life nowadays is being a jack of all trades, master of none. You know.
Yes.
Because people can be very knowledgeable in multiple different subjects and multiple different things, but there won't be a master at it. Because in today's climate, if you being a master of one thing, you're limiting yourself to just that particular thing.
Yeah.
You know, and unless you are able to sort of become an expert in something and really hold down a job being that expert, knowing one thing is all well and good, but are you going to get a job in that?
Yeah,
exactly.
At the end of the day,
if you learn multiple skills, you've got more chance of getting a job, and being able to hold down a job with if you've got multiple skill sets in you. So being skilled as a carpenter, but not being skilled in anything else, you're limited to just carpentry.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, there's a demand for carpentry, but you've got to contest with 50 other people who also have a carpentry business because they're all doing the same thing as well.
Yeah, but they also do. Some of them do are electricians and plumbers as well, which means that they're going to combine their carpentry with their other trades that they are very good at. And it doesn't matter if you're the best carpenter in the world if you don't know how to, get a dovetail joint as a protective format against a form of aluminium piping, which is a corner basis, which is protecting your toilet. Then you're not gonna, you're not gonna be able to do that against somebody that's, somebody that has that.
It brings the same to the music industry. Yeah, you know how to play an instrument, but do you know the business that surrounds the music industry? Do you know how publishing works? Do you know how merchandise works?
Yeah.
Do you know how stage production works? You need to be able to know all this stuff as well as being know how to play your guitar.
Yeah.
So yeah, all well and good. You play the guitar really well. You're a master at the guitar. But do you know what happens when you sign a record deal?
Yeah.
Do you know what happens when you have to sign off on publishing deals?
Yeah.
Do you know what happens when you've got to sign off on merch? Do you know the process behind it? Do you know the process behind the contract, behind the business behind it? If you don't know that, you're going to be taken for an absolute ride.
Yeah.
And you'll be treated like just a pawn in someone else's game.
Yeah.
If you know and have knowledge in the other trades, you're going to find yourself in a much better position to negotiate. You're going to find yourself in a much better position to really sort of understand the business that surrounds it.
Yeah.
So going into music, it's not just about playing the instrument.
Nope.
It's about knowing the rest of the business as well.
Yeah. And there's things in those lessons that you learn in all of those different formats of all those different things that you just mentioned. That the bastard of it is that there's things that you only learn when you're 5 years in, when you're 10 years in, and you go, shit, if I'd known this 5 years ago, I wouldn't have bloody done it. And it's just that's the cluncher. That's the annoying one is, and then when you realise that when you're first entering it, you go, oh my god. The worst one is when you start saying to yourself, I hope that I don't end up making this mistake. But then that comes down to, for me, is things like biographical studies, studying other people's lives, and you try and learn what they did wrong and what they did right and what they did that affected them. And then you go, oh, okay, it's not only that, but they're in a different era. So not everybody around is the same. The whole business runs different.
Now studying history, and history is only written by winners.
Yeah, and then history is also loads of it's really biased towards the motherfuckers that win. And
again, history is written by the winning side.
By people who win, absolutely.
It's been written by the winning side. You don't hear much from the losing side at all.
No.
know.
But luckily, the thing though is that we are getting a little bit more into depth nowadays, where that is becoming a bit more of an analytical format, or an applicable analytical format. Is when you're getting people that are going, all right, okay, these are these are the Jesuits. They had a really bad time in here, you know, or like these are the Sodomites, and they gave really bad times to the. Okay, we're going to learn about all the tribes that had a really bad time with the Sodomites. All right, we're going to learn about all of the people that had a, you know, these are the people that suffered at the hands of the Mongolians, or these are the people that no longer exist. For example, my father tells a fantastic tale of this bird, which is known as the Stevens Island flightless wren. And it's a bird which is now extinct. And it was discovered on Stevens Island by, I think, potentially Stephen, and the ornithologist who had discovered this bird noted it and said, right, this thing doesn't exist anywhere else on the planet, and even further into the future now, this thing does not exist, and there's barely any genus of it which comes close to what this thing is.
Yeah.
Only existed on this one island. The lighthouse keeper moved there and had a cat. And this cat systematically killed every single one of the Stevens Island flightless wren. And the ornithologist came back and looked, and outside of the lighthouse was just a huge pile of bones and a very fat cat sitting on top of it. And there's something to be said for that in terms of things that we kind of, as you said earlier, looking into where people have lost and why they lose, because Bobby Fischer, grand amazing chess master and my personal favorite player of all time,
says, and he used to make the best people. He's like the Roger Federer of chess as well. When you watch his actual games of how he moves against people that are the absolute apex of incredible, he always says, I always studied how people lost. He says, I got up to that point in the game and I saw why Karpov lost against Kasparov, or I saw why oh god, I don't know, why Aliekin lost against the guy that was playing as the Turk in whatever era, and that is, I think, a very important thing, which will kind of give a lot of cohesiveness to our era that we live in. I think as we move forward into the future, is learning a lot more about the people that lost, a lot more about the people that are now supposedly forgotten, or we have trace elements of them that we can study, and we can, because our technology is better, we can extrapolate a lot more from nothing.
Well, if you go back to the Stephen Island flightless wren, there's something you can take out of that in terms of obviously the timeline of events. So the island is discovered with its inhabitants. The person goes off to make friends with the inhabitants, so the lighthouse keeper, making friends with the flightless wren, introduces another being into it, i.e. the cat, or maybe someone's son, for example. The greed of that cat for wanting to eat the birds overtakes anything else and systematically destroys the ecosystem of the flightless wren and renders them extinct. If you look at the cat as greed and the inhabitants of the island as, well, the general public, so to speak, greed can overrun the public. And if we allow greed to overexpose itself and to over control, then before we know it, things will be going extinct. The humans would be the representation of greed, and the animals in the animal kingdom are the representation of the flightless wren. If we continue the way we are with endangered species, they're going to become extinct, and we're going to say, "Oh no, well, we didn't want them to become extinct." Yeah, well, us as a species have systematically destroyed this other species purely because we believe we are at the top of the food chain.
It's our fault. Yeah.
It's our fault. Whenever a species goes extinct, it's usually our fault. Yeah. As a human species, it is our fault.
If not directly, then indirectly as well.
Yeah, exactly.
This is
you can tribes people as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Dude.
When humans discover other tribes, the usual thing is not to make friends; is to establish dominance, establish a hierarchy against them. That's why when Christopher Columbus landed in America as a white guy, there were people already living there. It was already inhabited.
Absolutely, yeah.
He said he discovered the island, and him and his people pushed the others back to then colonize it, even though it was already colonized.
And they killed so much of
Christopher Columbus was that cat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Christopher Columbus
systematically destroyed the ecosystem of the people already living there.
He's arguably an asshole, Christopher Columbus, though, as well, because he was serving the Queen of Spain at the time, or the monarchy of Spain, so that he could return with news of what he had discovered and what he had obtained for the how would you say it? The ongoing of the empire. And when he landed there, they brought what was it? Smallpox and polio, I think it was. I think they brought them measles. Yeah, that was it. And then the islands people though had returned the favor though by giving them what's that, sexually transmitted? I think it might be chlamydia or I can't remember. Syphilis. That's the one. Yeah, and they returned the favor by giving them syphilis. So, but obviously most of the island people unfortunately died because the medication unfortunately wasn't as advanced for them to solving that problem. Whereas, a lot of the Spanish died, and then a lot of Europeans suffered as a result of it, and then they made a comeback from it. And then that went on all the way through to the Civil War, and until eventually it came to the point where people like William Randolph Hearst were writing newspaper articles because of the fact that it was in the best interest of the states to defend against Spanish invaders and to say like, right, we need to defend the Cubans against the oncoming onslaught of the Spanish. And you know, and it's as you were saying earlier, it's written by the people that win. And I think William Randolph Hearst is one of those. A combination of Christopher Columbus and William Randolph Hearst, those two. They have some small. They have. I mean, I would never want to manage the terms of what they've given to the world, but they have good sides and bad sides, and it's whether or not you believe it's a competition, whether or not you believe that they have good sides, whether or not you believe it's bad sides, or whether or not it's people just doing what they do because of the time that they live in, and whether or not forgiveness should be given, or whether or not they should be stricken from history books, or whether or not it's, as I say, it's all grey. It's all everything. Unfortunately, how bad or good you think it is, it's all areas of grey. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't enjoy it, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't necessarily dislike it.
Well, the world isn't in black and white.
No, it's not.
The world is in a state of grey.
It's all
always in a state of
100
grey.
billion shades of grey, a quintillion shades of grey, and we'll never know it. It's like prime numbers. They're hard to find. We find one every so often, but eventually. And we'll never find all of them because you can always put more numbers on the end. But they're harder to find. And the last one that was found, I think, I can't remember, it was a few weeks ago. It might have been in the 90s actually. But yeah, the last one that found was incredibly, that was incredibly impressive. But the person that discovered it, I can't remember, it might have been Isaac Newton. No, he was calculus. Would never have believed that we could have gotten that many, but that's because we use computer algorithms. Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier in terms of computer technology, being able to do what we can do now. Yeah, I don't know how on earth we got from Rage Against the Machine to where we got.
It's how the chat progresses, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. This is podcasting. Cheers, Benjamin. Absolute pleasure to have you back on again. You're the only person I can get from Rage Against the Machine to Christopher Columbus and the Stevens Island flightless wren. For goodness sake, what is life?
Life is what we make it.
Yeah.
The thing is, we're going back to computer technology. If we look at the invention of social media, for example, I mean, we're actively using social media now. Yeah. We've used Facebook, we've used YouTube, we've used Twitter to advertise what we're doing right now. The way I see social media is, again, as I described earlier, it's Schrodinger's syndrome. It has Schrodinger's syndrome included in it. Because, like the cat, where you don't know if it's alive or dead, it could be both. And where that can be both, I relate that back to social media, where it's both the best thing and the worst thing to happen to humankind.
Yeah.
The good things about it, for example, is the connectivity. You can speak to people all across the globe, just at a push of a button. Push a button, you can be streaming to someone worldwide. You can chat to someone who's thousands of miles away, just a click of a send button. But at the same time, the increase in bullying and the invention of cyberbullying and hacking has also come into play with the use of social media. The spread of false information has come from social media. People create multiple accounts to spread false information over social media, and people lap it up as if it is fact.
Because it's on the internet. Because it's on something that they don't fully understand.
The internet is basically, the people on the internet have become, it's become one of those things where
a lot of people,
they've become comfortable with bullying someone because they're not going to get punched in the face for it. Because that person can't turn around and whack you in the jaw.
So you're saying that the argument is that the increase in communication has arguably devalued communication itself, then, because the fact that people no longer appreciate it for the gravitas that it would regularly carry without the internet.
Someone could send you a message calling you a effing F word.
Fucking fuck. Yeah, right.
Or effing, homophobic slurs or whatever, and just call you that without the risk of, because they're just over the keyboard. They're not going to get punched in the face for it. No. They can say whatever they want to you, and they can devalue someone in terms of how they feel about themselves, in terms of their self-esteem. Back before the internet was invented, there's a bully to your face, and then they run the risk of you punching them in the gob.
Yeah.
And that's just, that's how it was. The bullied could turn around and fuck the bullier.
Yeah.
Nowadays you can't do that.
No.
And that event then increases the sexism part of it as well, women getting unsolicited dick pics, unsolicited messages, you know,
Oh,
and all
dude.
this, and they suffer with that, you know. These guys think, oh, I just had a picture of my dick over the internet.
Imagine how bad it was in the past, like in the from the 50s to like 80s, and even before that, when you have people going like, "Hey, honey, fancy," like you know, guys doing drive-bys and all sorts, like, "Oh, come and jump on my kid's dick," and all these other lines.
Builders,
and stuff.
like wolf whistling, yeah.
Builders, wolf whistling, like you know, as a
It
generalized
still happens
term.
now.
And then you condense that and put it onto something where people can just do it en masse all day, every day, and you can feed that
and they can
habit.
create a false account and do it under a false pretense.
You can feed that habit as much as you can possibly ever want in our lifetime. You can just sit, eat chips, jack off, and just take pictures of your knob and fling it to countless poor women all over the world. I mean, but the only, I mean, I'm sure the only marginal solace that people could probably take in that is that some of those accounts aren't women and they're actually other scarier, horrible dudes catfishing on the internet that are pretending to be women that are going, oh, I hope I get some dick pics in today. Oh, I hope I get, Rogers752 is going to go and send me a load of his knobs because he thinks I'm a tiny Asian girl from Tanganyika, and I'm going to go and, you know, he's going to send me his address next week, and that's the end of him, you know. Like that, you know, that's the only. But then as well, you're also arguably spreading more hate or violence, or you're solving hate with violence, or you're solving, you know, private hate.
I mean, this could divide opinions among some people, but I think probably the worst creation that's ever come from the internet is Tinder.
Oh really? Okay.
I hate Tinder. Have an absolute passionate hate for it, because you're valuing someone literally on a picture of them. That's all you're valuing them from. You don't look at their description. The description can it doesn't even have to be anything about the person in their bio. It could just be a quote.
I disagree though. I disagree though.
It has the same vein as Instagram.
Henry VIII though, Hans Holbein, used to go and paint pictures of women queens across the water, and he would never have met them before. And one of them he did fall in love with, and she fell in love with him back as well.
The whole point of Tinder is to fuck. That's the whole point of Tinder. You meet up for a fuck.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. There are people I know. One of my very good friend of mine is actually in a almost 5-year relationship actually with somebody that he gets along incredibly well with, and they're very happy together.
But people on Tinder live for the matches.
Well, some of them do.
They live for the matches. Just swipe left, swipe right.
I know where you're coming from.
You look at plenty of fish. You just search through profiles. You just search through and pick one you think all right. You've only got this whole like swiping feature where you see one picture. Oh no, I like him for his looks. You don't go for the person for their actual personality.
Yeah,
you know, it's just not for you. Arrange a date because of their looks.
Yeah, but then you're somebody that you're a face-to-face person that you like.
I'm old-fashioned.
You're an old. Yeah, you work via old-fashioned ruling. You and that's exactly how you found happiness as well. Is through an older form of communication.
I mean,
face-to-face.
I mean, Tinder was invented after I got into my relationship with Rebecca. You know, it was invented after that time. It was, I think, actually no, I don't know. It might have been around the same point as when I did get Rebecca.
Yeah.
Was when Tinder was first then introduced. It was after my first or second year of uni when Tinder really first came out. And
everybody bet is getting married. Just quickly, big up break from this one intense conversation for seconds. Up another cheers. Thank you very much, all
2 months ago.
Please raise a glass wherever you are in the world at home, and make sure that you send Ben psychologically your best love. Thank you very much. Please continue, Ben. Sorry.
The ball and chain is getting ever bigger.
Come on. Come on with Tinder.
I just have this overwhelming distaste for Tinder and the way it operates. It just doesn't mesh with me at all. And this is an opinion. It's not fact. I'm not trying to push this through as fact. I'm not trying to say that Tinder is the worst thing in creation. It's just, in my mind, that's what it is. You know? And an opinion is what it is. It's just an opinion. Yeah. I'm not going to force it on anyone and say, you should hate Tinder now. It's my thoughts on it, you know, and people can disagree with me, people can agree with me, it's up to them, you know, and that's what an opinion is. You cast it as your own opinion, and people can say whatever they want about it. You know, people can call me a dickhead and say, oh no, I found my wife on Tinder, and people can say, actually, he's got a fucking point. But at the same time, it's just an opinion.
Yeah.
You know, it's my
you
thoughts on
feel
it.
very
That's
strongly about your personal dislike because it doesn't mesh with how you personally would go about.
It doesn't mesh with how I believe dating should operate.
No.
You know, I think dating needs to operate in a face-to-face manner. You know, meet someone in a pub, meet someone when you're out and about. Don't look on the internet for someone because you're more likely to get catfished.
I've tried Tinder. I have.
I know you've tried Tinder.
And I can't do it. I can't physically handle it because I'm not in front of the person. I've decided I'm a bit more old-fashioned. I can't physically handle not being in front of somebody and feeling the pheromones and making each other laugh and okay, no, I'm getting a bit of a okay. She might not actually have liked you saying that. I'm going to pull it back a bit. That was a bit disrespectful of me. I was being a bit too, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'm overthinking this, and all that stuff. And you get all of that in the moment with somebody. Whereas I see what you mean though. Like there is that on Tinder, there is a huge distance. However great, there's a piece of machinery in your hands, a piece of machinery in the person you're talking to's hands, and you're both trying to talk. You're both trying to do the thing on a date, which is not talk about sex. You know, we're not talking about that because I want something more from a relationship with another human being, other than any one attribute.
You see the thing about Tinder dates as well. Yeah. You know, you go on a Tinder date and people are like, "Did you fuck on your Tinder date?" You know, look at Pornhub. There's a whole section dedicated to I fucked my Tinder date.
Yeah, there is.
It's become like this subgenre for porn, basically.
Dude.
And it's, I don't know, I just have this massive
Bumble as well.
I just have this massive distaste for it. I mean, there have been social media sites where I've met people that I've dated, you know. So my ex before Becca, I met her on this site called Tagged, which is for like teenage emos with nothing left to lose apart from fuck, you know.
Can I get the site name? You sent this to me. I need to. Is it still going?
It's that's a bit paedophilic. I'm not gonna lie. Tinder is for teenagers, you know. But I met her on there. She was a Brummie girl.
French rule, my friend. Half your age plus 7, 19. Oh wait, no, it's 20 now. Shit, damn it. My maths is bad. I sound like a pedo. Shit.
She was a Brummie girl, and we met when. Oh god, she's the same age as I am, so we met when we were both about 15 years old. And we talked for a while, you know, and that's what you do. You talk over the line, you know. She was a good like 200-300 miles away from me, so it's just talking, you know, things like that. And then it kind of transpired that we did quite like each other, you know. And then it got to a point back in, oh god, we're talking 2010 when I went up to hers for her birthday for a party in Birmingham with a couple of my mates, and we ended up getting it on. We fucked in a field, you know. But the thing is, we knew each other because we've been talking to each other for years online.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, this is kind of like one of the positives that can come out of social media. It's not just about talking to someone for a couple of times, going on a date and fucking. You know, if you're going to talk to someone online, talk to them for a good few years. You know, really get to know the person, and then. If you do go out to meet them and fuck in a field, it's not too bad.
No.
You know, because you already know the person. And we stayed together for about a year and a half before we broke up. You know, and she's a 4'11" Brummie girl, you know, who actually I hold the best wishes for. If she ever sees this, you know, nothing but best wishes to you. You know, and she's a lovely girl. But at the time it just wasn't, when it got to the end of it just wasn't working for me, you know. I was in uni, you know, I was living the life, you know, but I still held some thoughts, like a lot of deep feelings for it. It just wasn't the time for me. So I ended up breaking it off, and 2 months later, that's when I got Rebecca, and I haven't looked back really.
The rest is history.
But yeah, that's kind of like one of the positives of these things. But in terms of online dating as such, but at the same time. Tinder is kind of like that instant thing. Like Tinder, you want an instant reaction. You want that instant chemistry. If you don't get that instant chemistry, you end up insulting each other. Whereas if you're chatting online on a social media site, you can really get to know that person.
There's given throw where there's given.
And I'm not going to say that I didn't
with relationships.
I'm not going to say that I didn't, you know, get the odd picture from time to time.
Yeah,
because
we were comfortable
with each other. That was the point. We were comfortable with each other, and it would be a trading thing. It's not a case of oh well, I'll send you a picture of my dick. So
Yeah,
now
also
I
needs-
expect you to send me a picture of your boobs.
No,
No, it
you
doesn't
also
work
need
like
to
that.
know it's real as well. You
It's
also need
getting
to know the
comfortable with each
person.
other.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting
And when we broke up, I deleted all the pictures straight away. That was it. Broke up, right? Ordered because it was done via email. It wasn't done just via like Messenger. It was all done via email. We sent it via email attachments. So I deleted all the emails, deleted all the attachments, completely got rid of them because we've broken up. I don't need them. Why would I keep them? I'm not out here trying to ruin our lives by keeping hold of these images. No, I delete them, and that's it. They're gone. I respect her for her decision, so I should respect her even more. So for any pictures that she sent me in the past, I should get rid of them. But there are guys out there who will still keep those images so that if they ever come up and an argument comes up, they can use that against them, and I don't believe in that. And you get the same with Tinder. You send your naked images to someone over Tinder, you're more likely to get exposed for it than you are to get a positive reaction out of it.
Yeah.
Especially if it's someone who maybe who knows anyone who's local to you, because they'll spread them out. And apps like Tinder, I just don't believe in. I just don't believe in them at all. I think, yeah, social media sites is acceptable, but again, go out and meet someone. Go outside. Don't sit at your computer trying to look for love. Love is out there waiting for you. Go and find it out in the real world.
Well said. When I take my hat, coat, and trousers off to you for saying being.
If you keep your trousers on, that'd be great.
I refuse to take my trousers off if I damn well see fit.
Oh dear.
Wow. Anyway, well, it's been a lot longer off of what I was gonna go on to than I'm nearly ready to go on to what I was going to talk about.
Okay. Enlighten me.
I've been so hyped to talk about this for so long. I mean, it's not a particularly good segue.
Do you want to put Facebook Live on? Maybe.
Oh.
You don't have to.
Very well, no. You put Facebook Live up. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to take a very, very short hiatus. I'm going to drain this can and go to the little boy's room. I should be back in just about a minute and 30 seconds at maximum, if you can just wait that long. Thank you.
Damn it. Pressure.
Slancher. Anyway. Where I got to.
Where you got to? Let's start off. Let's pick up where we left off.
This is what I've been wanting to talk about on most of the podcast. I've been psyched for this. I've been wanting to talk about this on podcasting ever since it happened. I've had one person on since this has happened. It's been huge world news, and I've been buzzing for it. And I'm going to go and see him as well.
Right.
John Frusciante has rejoined the fucking Chili Peppers.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
John fucking Frusciante, my all-time the apex of Jimi Hendrix celebratory versions of things. Oh my god, dude! Them doing Pink Pop in Amsterdam in like 89, I think, is breathtaking. Listening to him doing things like Hey Joe, and when they do Little Wing on Abbey Road Studios in 06 as well. He's the only person I've rate above Stevie Ray Vaughan. He is the reincarnation of Jimi Hendrix. He was also born the same year that Jimi Hendrix died as well.
Right.
And I think he's a gift to music, and he's rejoined the band after being away from them for almost so close to 10 years, just under 10 years. He's been away from them, and he's coming back. They're doing an album together. They left Klinghoffer in not one of the greatest spaces in terms of how they let go of him.
No,
but I thought it was okay. I think that there was a lot of fake news. A lot of people have been badmouthing the Chili Peppers because they've been a little bit over. News cycles have been overzealous of how they've reported.
They've always gone back to John Frusciante. He's gone away for a while and then always come back.
Josh, look,
King Howell was always going to be a placeholder.
Exactly, but anybody listening to this that is a big fan, a huge Chili Peppers fan, or wants to know more about it, listen to Josh Klinghoffer on Mark Maron's podcast, where he gives full detail about it, which is where every other news cycle has gotten all their information from.
which is this actual podcast, not this one, but I mean, this is the Mark Maron podcast, which is where they got it from. And he goes in depth about why he's no longer with them, why they've replaced him, what they said to him, what words were exchanged in between them, and everything else. And most of it, he is saying that he saw it coming. He felt like he knew it was going to come. He didn't feel like he was going to be a permanent fixture. He was happy to be there, the same way that Frusciante was when Hillel went. John Frusciante played with Hillel.
Yeah.
He knew Hillel. He was a huge fan of Hillel. He memorized a lot of Hillel's music because Hillel was hugely influenced by Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
The same with the Fleers, which is the reason why the Chili Peppers play a lot of his music. And it's just that they're now moving in another direction, not a new one, not an old one. They're just moving in another direction with their old team from 1989 back together.
Yeah,
and the first time he played with them, he was 19 years old. You hear him shred on Mother's Milk from Good Time Boys, which is just a fucking symphony of funk and a heavy rock music.
Yeah,
that whole album. But I wanted to get that out on podcast. I've wanted to say that for ages. I am so pumped for it. I don't care if I literally lose viewership for it. I've been so pumped for it. I can wait for it to happen. I'm so glad that he's back.
Well, when he first left, we knew he was going to come back at some point. People were saying he's only gone off for a break.
Yeah, or he's never going to come back.
He's never going to come back.
I said, I called it from day fucking what? I said, I knew he was going to come
back.
But
he's done it before. So we knew it was going to happen again.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was going to come back at some point.
I didn't know when, but I said I reckon he's going to come back. I said because it's like his destiny. Yeah. His destiny as a kid was to play with this band. Yeah. He's going to come back. As amazing as Josh is, and I really do think that Josh is incredible. Josh is as close to savant in terms of his musical ability as you would want to come.
Yeah.
But Frusciante is a savant. He is a genius. He's a tortured, crazy madman with fingers that are worth more money than
J-Lo's ass.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, yeah. Cheers to that. Cheers to if you're a human being and your hands are worth more money than J-Lo's ass, and you have won at life. You get to retire, you get a house, just done, don't have to do anything anymore. But yeah.
J-Lo's insured her ass for $2 million, right?
Really?
$2 million actually. She insured her ass because her ass makes money.
Oh, dude. Singing in the Rain, actress Sid Charisse, the lady who does the dance with the big veil, which has the big fan that blows. Like one through the veil. She insured her legs for like the most amount of money before any football player.
Most celebrities, their most redeeming part of their body they will insure, because if something was ever to happen to them, they can then get their money's worth from them.
Yeah.
And J-Lo's ass was a defining feature for her. As much as people want to say, yeah, she's an amazing vocalist, which she is. She's an amazing vocalist in what she does, but the male kind focus on her rear end, and her rear end gets a lot of attention. So insure it. Just like anyone who's a long-legged Mac Daddy will insure their legs because they got nice long legs. It makes them money. Models will insure their legs because that's what sells. Whatever sells will be insured.
Yeah.
Shakira, for example, she should just insure her whole fucking body.
Hips.
Okay, because but her hips don't lie, you see.
Exactly, that's why you're going to get them insured.
But then she should insure the entirety of her body. Just because it's Shakira.
I wonder how many times she's used that in a conversation.
Should I insure my ass? I don't know, I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Don't post pictures, unless it's on Ben's phone, in which case, yeah, do it. I encourage that.
Don't send me ass pictures, okay?
Send Ben ass
Don't
pictures.
send me ass pictures.
Send Ben.
Becca will kill me.
Conversations.
Becca will kill me.
Simultaneous live stream just below there happening right here of Ben's phone, which has a live chat activated on it, as we had last time on Ben's Biscotti Conversations. We also
we tend to do it conjointly, don't we?
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you get.
Oh, thank you.
things. That's why I put your channel name in the description. I help you get sort of people come for your channel. Yeah. John Summer, can I send out pictures of my bum hole? You can send it to him. Send it to Will.
I knew you'd be on chat. I knew you'd be on chat, you greasy fuck. Yes. Yes. No. No, you may not goat see.
Have you
Send
bleached
it to me. Don't start. Yeah. I would like to say
my heart is a lot bigger, to be fair.
Fair enough. No, it is. It is. Beerhawk, Pokemon, Banksy, and Shipyard and Budweiser, also Asahi, are not official sponsors of this podcast and do not endorse anything.
Nor do Monster
right now, or nor do Monster, or Lucozade actually for the first few seconds that we're here. They do not endorse us, but we're glad that they appeared. Yes, but anyway, moving on swiftly to probably our maybe last thing. It's just nice to consolidate everything we've kind of talked about earlier on the earlier podcast. This is 0.5 technically, so you'll probably, if there's somebody looking on the previous stream, you'll probably have to move on to this one to do 0.5. We've had a really good session of it as thus far. I almost wish that we could go on for longer, really, but I kind of got to shoot off for a bit. In the next sort of 10 minutes, I got to start to pack up. So yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, you're on my wonderful engine in your casa. So would you like in your casa? Would you like to plug anything whilst you're here at all? Do you want to say live streaming, Double Ben B? When are you streaming? Double Ben B. When are you streaming next? What are you doing next?
What am I streaming next?
I'll be Witcher, CS:GO.
I'll be streaming tomorrow. Streaming CS:GO. Twitch.tv/doubleb for anyone who doesn't know already. I stream on Twitch. I do gaming mainly.
His links will be below in the description.
In the YouTube video, if you find it. Yeah, so go to YouTube, it's got your conversations, look for it. It's in the description. Yeah, so I've got my Twitch channel. Don't really use my YouTube really as much. Shout out to my future wife. Hey, how you doing? What up? No, not really. Not really anything. I want to thank you for obviously having me again. You know, I would like to make this kind of like a semi-regular thing where we do kind of go on every so often. We meet up and we have just a random fucking chat about life and about going from Rage Against the Machine to Christopher Columbus and just having that range.
we always like. I love that. That's the reason why I love. Whenever God opens a door, he opens a window. Closes a door, he opens a window. It's the beautiful tangent of human discussion. I love it. It's what I was saying earlier to you and Bex. It's the reason why I wanted to do a podcast for ages. Is because I wanted this raw, live, crazy, like conversation between two human beings that you never know what it's going to turn into in the future. You never know what it is now. To be recorded.
Yeah.
Because when
you got to think our conversation went from Rage Against the Machine to Christopher Columbus to bleached arseholes.
Yeah, and then in 20 years' time, in 30 years' time, 40 years' time, 50 years' time, this will be what it is. This will be
what we show our children and be like, yeah, we talked about bleached arseholes.
Yeah, for 20 minutes. It was a big conversation. We must.
For 20 minutes, we talked about a dating app where you meet up to fuck.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are we going to tell our kids?
Oh, dude. Oh, but yeah. Anyway, going back to bleached assholes, though. Do you reckon, how much do you reckon it would take you for you to bleach your own? How much money? But you got it professionally done. A ballpark figure.
10k.
£10,000. 10,000 quid, and you would go into the salon.
I'd go into a professional salon and bleach my ass.
Okay, right. Now, next question: how much would it cost you to do it unprofessionally? From a back alley, some greasy guy, in a back alley, and he's just got him, a bottle of bleach, and a dog that occasionally nips at you when it gets too close from its leash.
10k and a penny.
So the 1 penny separates.
The 1 penny difference. I'm still getting 10k out of it. So how am I going to complain?
So 10k is just.
Well, 10k would cover the medical costs if things went wrong.
What, of bleaching?
Yeah.
Or like in case like your arsehole did a sucky and like took some of it in.
Well, in case the dog decides to lick my arsehole and I then tense and then the dog's sort of tongue gets stuck in my.
Why is a dog gonna want to go for bleach though if this is your arsehole?
It's a dog. They lick everything. You put peanut butter on you, you'll lick it.
No, but not bleach. It knows that it's going to know the smell of ammonia. It's going to be like, yeah, I'm not fucking with that because he's got bleach near his asshole, and I'm not trained.
What in case it shits on me?
You're going to have to like entice.
Yeah, it shits in my mouth. I don't know. I don't care.
It shits in your mouth. So you're in a back alley getting your arsehole bleached from some greasy, horrible homeless man with someone waving 10k in your face going, it's coming. All you need to do is just
it's coming, okay.
Oh, it's coming. And there's a dog just surreptitiously pooing directly into your mouth. Like not on your face, not on your eyebrows, not up your nostrils. It's going into your mouth. And you're like, it's the Ladies and gentlemen, this is the sort of conversations that Scotty Conversations is proud of and will support more of, being its main host.
I'm dying. Hiding my face for a moment. Hiding my face.
Do you reckon you could bleach your nipples? Like, bleach them to the same colour as like the rest of your skin? Like, do you reckon?
What do you want?
I don't know. I'm just like, do you reckon that's like a thing that you could do? Like, if you bleached your nipple enough, do you reckon you could bleach it to the same colour? I'm not
You might as well just not have nipples.
Yeah, no. You might as well just isn't a factor in this conversation. I'm saying that if you were a crazy person and you were
I'm not a crazy person. I'm not going to bleach my nipples.
Inhabit another person.
Can you imagine Becca listening to this conversation right now? We're talking about bleached arseholes, bleaching nipples, and a dog shitting in my mouth. How's she going to feel about this?
Okay, but going back to my point though. Okay, but how much money would it cost you though? Everybody has a price. How much would it cost you to have some?
Who are you, the $1 Million Man? I got the money. Let's see how much it takes for you.
Benjamin Barra, we right now are going to pay you $1 million, the sum of cash money.
And then like some.
You sound like Kermit the Frog.
Yeah, and some person just like comes over and just like shows off the money like.
Oh God. So like a crazy party in Lee Park.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And then
Yeah,
just, like, show the money and they're like, okay, right. If you bleach your nipples to the same color as the rest of your body, including your hair, but right, okay, and you get to wear goggles though, and none of it goes into any of your orifices. And I tell you what, I'll throw in. You also don't have to bleach your asshole along with everything else. £1 million. £1 million. But you have
the same color as my skin.
Yeah, but you have to get your entire body,
bar
your asshole, and including mainly nipples, so your nipples get rubbed.
What about my eyes?
No, you get goggles. Remember, I said
oh yeah.
And you get like earplugs, so like it's not gonna get in your ear, and you get like hosed down with like something that's slightly acidic, so it feels nice afterwards as well.
That sounds kinky.
I haven't thought about this. I'm just riffing right now. I'm just wondering,
kinky.
what would it like £1 million in cash? Would you do it?
Probably.
Yes, see?
Everybody has
a prize.
For £1 million, I mean, if something was to go wrong, it'd pay for my medical costs and then some.
Exactly, and then it's from Raoul in a paddling pool outside Fareham Station. And he hands you the money afterwards. Actually, you got to chase him for it, but he's pretty easy to catch. He's all outside Fareham Station. And he hands you the money afterwards. Actually, you got to chase him for it, but he's pretty easy to catch.
Raphael.
He's got a wooden leg. This doesn't work properly. Where's Jordan gone?
Dear, I don't know where Jordan's gone.
He's busy taking pictures of.
Would you, for $1 million, have your legs cut off to your knees?
No. Not me. No. Fuck no.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
I like to be, I like to be at my height. I'd
break a limb. I'd break a limb if you wanted to break one of my. I would have probably one limb broken for £1 million, and it would probably have to be one of my legs and not my thigh. Anything other than that, no. I'd rather I'd pay.
Would you let someone peg you for 100k?
Peg me? What is that? Well, like put a peg in.
You know what pegging is?
I don't know.
It's when a woman fucks you. It's called pegging.
What, for £1 million?
For 100k.
How big's the dildo?
9 inches.
What's the rule? Does it have to go all the way in? Like, what would define fuck?
15 minutes straight.
15 minutes straight?
15 minutes straight fucking in your ass.
For £1 million, and right.
No, for 100k.
Is it recorded? Who's watching? What's happening? What are my surroundings?
You're in a hotel with a prostitute.
Nobody else is going to see it.
There's a secret camera in the corner you don't know about from the hotel manager.
Is that going on the internet?
Most likely.
For £1 million?
But you don't know about it, so how do you know?
Am I allowed to wear what I want, and do I have a ball cock? Am I allowed to speak during it?
You're in a maid outfit.
I'm in a maid outfit. Am I allowed to be vocal as I want during it?
You can be vocal, yeah.
Yeah, fuck it, I'd absolutely do it then.
Oh dear.
No, because I just spend the whole time to go, it's for £1 million, I'm winning.
For that question would have you stubbed.
Yeah. What?
He said for that question would have you stubbed.
Stumped.
Stubbed. There's a pun there somewhere. You know, cut yourself at the knees, stub your legs.
Oh!
There's a pun there somewhere.
Oh god, that is like mutilation. I just draw the line. But yeah, fuck you, no amount of money. No amount of money. £1 billion. Fuck you. No, I'm not paying. No. No, my body to me is worth more than that. Maybe that's head in
Your body is a temple.
No, my body is an amusement park.
Until the Spanish Inquisition comes in.
To quote, yeah, and I become Stephen's Island flight of Red. No, but my body is to quote the late and great. What's that chef called?
Gordon Ramsay.
No.
You should be late and great.
No, the poor gentleman that hung himself. It was a fucking G. Read it. Kitchen Confidential. Anthony Bourdain. My body is an amusement partner.
Right.
That man did a lot of heroin with Iggy Pop though. It's not my scene.
I think most people around that time did a lot of drugs with Iggy Pop.
Yeah, was that like heroin was you just didn't want to do though? Like that's just the one that you go, no injecting marzipan into each other's stumps, as Dylan Moran called it.
Yeah, but if you put it this way, heroin, if you take out a couple of letters, add in a couple more, you get heroism.
Yeah, what do you reckon? That's what every heroin person, like every person that's taken heroin, is saying to themselves in their head to justify it. Well, if you spell it differently, it's all right. You know, and then they're all fine with it.
Oh, what's the Soviet Womble video? He says something.
So
he says if you take this word, add in a couple of letters, take out a couple more, it spells rape victim.
Oh, dude, I miss what's his name? The Gopnik. Your brother did a Gopnik squat at the shop today as we were getting our suit measured.
My brother is something else.
Loco, I think is the word.
He's something else.
Loco, as they say in Espanol.
Pretty sure he's got some form of Asperger's. I'm pretty sure. He's one of a kind. He is.
Which
brother? Older brother or younger brother?
Younger.
The younger brother. Yeah, he's definitely one of a kind.
He's an interesting conversation. I had a very good conversation with him.
I'm surprised you even managed to get a conversation out of him.
I had multiple good conversations with him. I had 3 good conversations with him. I had one good one about a really good one about Peaky Blinders. I had another good one about London Gangsters, and another one about contemporary cannabis situation, which was fantastic. Dude, the man knows his vitamins.
You will get a conversation out of him, providing he knows you enough. But most of the time, you just get grunts out of him because he's an 18-year-old who thinks he's gangster.
You are so vicious. Double Ben B. Should have a little viper.
Double Ben B. No, it's double B.
Double Ben Berry. Double button. That's 4 B's. Double Ben Berry.
That was like 16 B's.
I'm riffing. I'm going.
On beach flat. Anyway.
Oh yeah, Ben and I are in a band together, by the way, everybody. Which is we're releasing new material in between May and July, which should go nicely, very well with your tasteful, funky beach bum motherfucker summer of yours. Which we're ramping up. We've had
double penetration berry.
Wow. Yes, I love it. Who said that?
Jodie.
Oh, okay. Good on you, Jodie. Respect per.
You wish.
See, you're the one that wants to get banged in the hotel room. All right, fine. How about your 10k? Will it take 10k for you to just take a massive purple?
I'm not going to risk 10k to then get berated by Becca.
I tell you what. I tell you what. Becca watches, but it doesn't go on the internet.
She still wouldn't. No.
What about £1 million?
No.
Actually, no.
I'm not risking my relationship.
No. I know. I'm going to say actually no. We can't talk about this because Becca's not in the room.
If you had a superpower, but you'd be flaccid and could only get hard for a homeless man, would you still want? Would you still want them? No. Ben used to like me years ago. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I won't beat around the bush. Yeah, I did. Nothing wrong with that.
Where did this go? This conversation. We're still on biscotti. We're on 24 minutes on part 2. Actually, we're doing cool.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Time is running out.
6.
You might have to get the hour later anyway.
Oh no!
He's gonna have to check the train times.
I have to check. No,
I'm a nice girl. Who wouldn't? All right, calm down. Man on the right has beard goals. Yeah, that's Will. Will has beard goals. Massive beard goals.
Beard goals.
Beard goals. As in, people want. He thinks people should have a beard like yours.
Oh right. Oh cool.
It's goals.
Baby. I was going to say.
Are you not with the times? It's your beard is goals.
Oh no, because I thought that
it's like OMG
LOL goals.
It's like OMG LOL goals. Like whatever sort of thing.
Yeah, you lost me multiple anachronisms ago.
Beard goggles for Ben. Yeah. No, it's I'm drinking a lot without food. So there you go.
Puss is what I say. Big old puss. 9-minute walk. Are you having a giraffe?
Yeah, I'm
gonna pass up in 2 minutes, my friend. We're gonna round off.
We'll wrap it up.
We're gonna round off because I'm gonna get the 7 minutes to train.
Okay.
And then I have to head back.
Not a problem. We'll do it again sometime.
This has been so much fun. Thank you ever so much for having me over to your humble abode.
Thank you. No, that's not a problem. Thank you for having me on the podcast. Bringing it on tour with you.
Dude, this was a first time, so I'm sorry for the audio quality, by the way, on people on Biscotti Conversations. Thank you so much, all the people on Ben's chat. Can we get some fire or horribleness in the conversation? Everybody put swastikas for like 5 seconds on Ben's phone.
No, don't put anything like that.
Something really not stupid. Something very inappropriate that somebody would find upsetting, but not like too horrible.
No. Come on. Don't plague my phone.
I love being mean. Anyway, but seriously though, thank you ever so much, everybody though, for going serious. Thank you very much though, everybody, for coming in and tuning into Biscotti Conversations and being a viewer and being part of whatever.
If you haven't already, subscribe to Biscotti Conversations on YouTube. They're in my description. Go look at their channel on YouTube. Go subscribe to them. They release podcasts maybe every month or so. So yeah. Go subscribe.
And tune in for next time on
Tune in for next time.
Conversations.
Yeah, we're going to finish.